Hey guys, this is Deekshita. Today we are going to see about CSS and HTML forms in web technology. Forms. HTML forms are used to pass the data to the server. The form tag is used to an HTML form. And the syntax is form. We will give the input elements and close the form with the front slash. An HTML form is a section of document containing normal content, markup, special elements called controls, checkboxes, radio buttons, menus, etc., and labels on these controls. HTML forms are required when you want to collect some data from the site visitor. For example, during user registration, you would like to collect the information such as name, email address, credit card, etc. A form will take input from the site visitor and then it will post it to the backend application such as CGI, ASP script or PHP script, etc. The backend application will perform required processing on the passed data based on the defined business logic. In simple terms, HTML form is used to collect the information or input from the user. The user input is the most often sent to the server for processing. Now let's see the basic construction of the HTML form. First we have to open the form to begin the form and input as the information in several different ways, and other input there can be many input areas as you wish to have, and we have to close the form with the front slash. That will be the end of the HTML form. And now let's see the control elements. Different types of control elements are input boxes, option buttons, selection list, check boxes, text areas. Input boxes. For text and numerical entries, we use input boxes, and option buttons are also called radio buttons. These are used for selecting a single option from the predefined list. Selection list from the for long list of options usually appearing in the drop down list box. Check boxes are used for specifying yes or no between, when we have like yes or no options, then checkboxes are used. Text areas for extended entries that can include several lines of text. Then let's see attribute forms. There are as accept charset, action, autocomplete, relation, method, name, and target. Action charset specifies the character encoding used for form submission. Whatever character encodings are there for submission, we use accept charset. Then action, it specifies whether to send the form data when a form is submitted. Autocomplete, it specifies whether a form should have autocomplete on or off, like whether it should be on or off. Relation, it specifies the relationship between the linked resource of the current document. Method, it specifies the HTTP method to use when sending the form data. Name, it specifies the name of the form, which like title. Target, specifies where to display the response that is received after submitting the form. Then HTML form elements. Here HTML form elements. The HTML form element can contain one or the following form of elements such as radio buttons, text field, checkboxes, text. As already said, radio buttons are also called option buttons. Radio buttons are the set of controls that are linked. So the only one radio button among each set is selected at a time. There are multiple buttons. To select the one button among all of them, radio buttons are used. If you click on one radio button, the others in that set are automatically deselected. So when there are multiple radio buttons, when we select one and other buttons which are available, those all will be deselected. A set of radio buttons is defined by providing them the same name. Like all the radio button, different types of radio buttons are stored under same name. The value sent in the web form is the value of the radio button that was lastly selected. Adding the option checked to one of the buttons in the set will make the button highlighted when the page loads. Radio buttons do not contain any text. Radio button. Here is the small example for radio button. We have two input types. two input types, and this is the basic example for radio buttons. Like we don't have any data to type in it. Checkboxes. Type checkbox. Checkboxes are similar to radio buttons, but they are not affected by other buttons. So you can have more than one in a group checked at a time. Like we can check multiple at a time. Note that every checkbox has a unique name. Like they are not predefined under same name. Each checkbox has a different name. If there is no check in the box, clicking it will place an X or a check mark there. If the box is checked, clicking it again, it will remove the mark. The value is sent in the web form is the value of the checkbox if it is selected. Otherwise, the value will be empty. Adding the checked option to the checkbox will make that checkbox highlighted when the page loads. Forms and server-based programs. Server-based programs, Common Gateway Interface Script, ASP, Cold Fusion, C++, PHP, VB script. The web server determines which language your web form will use. Getting started. The first step in creating a form is to specify the name and the location of the CGI script that will be used to process the form data. To this type the following code within the HTML file and note that there are no spaces. Like we should not give any spaces while creating the link or something. Like using form, this is the basic example. If your email ID is jsmith@temple.edu, you would enter like form we will get, and in action we will get the link address. Adding control buttons. First one is submit button. The input type is submit. It defines the submit button which submit all the form values to the form handler. The form handler is typically a server page with the script for processing and input the data. Submit or submission is an indication that something is ready for being processed. And let's see what is reset button. A reset button, a button or a switch on many computers that allow you to reset the computer. When you press the reset button, the computer will enter its startup procedure as if you have turned the power off and on again. Like once you click the submit button, you cannot go back and change something. Reset is like restoring all form of elements from their initial state. That is like starting from the initial position or the first step. Complete example for using all the buttons and all. Here it is. Thank you.